I love the NFL, man. I love the NFL. I used to think that the NFL was like a softer version of rugby, but I was dead wrong. The hits are ferocious. You can hit people that don't have the ball. That's the biggest difference. In rugby, you can only tackle someone who has the ball. In the NFL, you can block, you can stiff arm anybody. And it's just brilliant.
These are the 20 most terrifying moments in NFL history.
Oh my goodness! And he's still on the turf. And he's not moving.
And at number 20, Trevor Lawrence's safe slide turned into the most terrifying play of the year.
Represents that Shire, and that's going to start a little bit of a scrum afterwards.
But at number 19, even the coaches weren't safe from the danger. See, Sean McVay was on the sidelines, but he almost got his head knocked off clean.
Take a look one more time. The headset knocked off, hit on the left side of that jaw.
Yeah, even the sidelines get violent. I mean, at number 18, they almost went up in flames. Look, Tennessee lost control of their fire machines and nearly burnt the stadium to a crisp. Now, they had every reason to be terrified, but Eric Berry's nightmare was...
Dude, where's the fire brigade?
Something you wouldn't believe, because one of the most ferocious safeties of all time was running from his scariest match yet.
Hold up, hold that horse out there. You need to go ahead with that horse, man. I don't fool with no horses, boy. I seen her the first game. I ain't worried about the tick, I'm worried about the horse.
Dude had no reason to be so dramatic. But this next fan at number 16 took it to the next level. See, a group of kids were trying to get some autographs when security warned them that it could get dangerous.
Hey! Yo, touchdown!
Oh!
Jesus Christ! Go back to your seats. Everybody back to their seats. This kid just failed. Back to your seats. Yeah, get him up, get him up.
But Deshaun Warden had more to do than just play a game, because he turned into a hero.
I just kind of pushed him into the stands a little bit to brace his fall because I seen him coming down head first.
That kid was going headfirst into a tragedy, but Gary Kubiak wasn't so lucky.
Good save, good save.
Because at number 15, we've got a moment that had an entire stadium holding its breath. I mean, Coach Gary Kubiak almost didn't make it off the field alive. See, the Texans were playing the Colts, and when the teams were headed for their locker rooms at halftime, Kubiak collapsed. Coach was taken off on a stretcher and was rushed to the hospital with everyone afraid he was having a heart attack. Luckily, the doctors worked fast, and it turned out Kubiak had suffered a stroke and narrowly escaped tragedy. But while Kubiak got a second chance, the Bengals were so
He's lucky, man. A stroke, the longer you leave it, the more the damage is.
Again, at number 14, they thought it was game over. See, Mike Hilton replaced the Bengals mannequin and had his teammates seeing ghosts. That got scary. But what happened at number 13 was no joke. See, Rashad Johnson made one of the most terrifying bloody messes in NFL history. And it all started with a routine play until he lost a piece of his body.
We punt the ball down, and I'm going to cover it. Darren Sproles is the returner.
Sproles on the return of the punt by Zastinville. Breaks a couple of tackles.
I initiate a blocker, and in that moment when I initiate him, I just shed away and go in to make the tackle.
Now he knew something was wrong immediately. But when he got to the sideline, he found out something was missing.
Pain is getting worse. And I look down, and before I know it, my white glove is fire hot red. It's blood everywhere. I come off the field, just thinking like, hey, maybe I lost the nail. Maybe, something happened there. They've taken the glove off, thrown it in the trash can, and from my nail portion up in my left middle finger, it's completely severed.
My man was shocked. He was still missing the rest of his finger. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, the trainers had to dig through the trash can looking for the missing piece.
They look down in the trash can and they're digging, they pull it out, and the glove is still intact, it's normal. And they're like, well, let's just cut on up the finger and see. And they cut up the finger and... It just falls right there on the table.
Now, this would have been enough to make me retire. But Rashad showed that he was built different.
What kind of tackle causes you to lose that part of the finger, the whole piece? How does that happen?
Like, refused surgery and suited up to play the very next week.
I was kind of at that point like, let's just go and let's just shave it back and keep it going. I don't think I want to try and reattach.
And if that wasn't enough, Rashad turned the whole thing into a movement, showing the world what it means to turn pain into power.
The guy made t-shirts that saying that he got 9 more fingers, and everybody wore it under their shoulder pads for the rest of the year and all of that.
Yeah, Rashad came back stronger. But at number 12...
Dude, I want to see his hand. I want to see what his hand looks like. Is anyone else curious, or is it just me?
Imagine almost being left with permanent brain damage. See, Austin Collie suffered head trauma that didn't just change his career. It changed the entire NFL's approach to player safety forever. Now, Collie quickly became one of Peyton Manning's favorite weapons. But one play against the Eagles left him knocked out cold.
Oh!
took a vicious hit. He's still down, hasn't moved.
The sight of Collie motionless sparked concern across the nation. But just weeks later, he returned to the exact same horrors.
Up to see him. Collie is down again.
And just like that, Collie was out for the rest of the year and was never the same player again. And I don't know if I'd be the same player if I had to play through what's at number 11. I'm talking about when players
Mate, that was like a car crash.
had to play the biggest game of the season in the worst weather in NFL history. Temperature reached down to negative 14 degrees, leaving fans and players at risk for frostbite.
It's the one game in my whole life that I did not want to play.
And mine came in at my toes. And it's almost like your circulation has stopped.
And in these conditions, players' equipment were frozen, referee whistles were even broken, and they had to yell for the whole game. Green Bay took the title with a 21-17 dogfight. But the worst of it all was that one fan froze to death. And even with that type of tragedy, there still isn't a limit to the temperature NFL players play in.
Did he just say a fan froze to death? How cold was it here? Because what?
Yeah, the NFL could care less about players freezing to death. But at number 10, we've got to talk about the most terrifying fan ever seen. See,
That is insane, because surely you're not going to be sat still enough to freeze to... That's crazy. Maybe you get hypothermia, but to freeze to death?
is Chiefsaholic, and he became the Chiefs' biggest superfan by becoming an outlaw. I mean, this dude was on the front row in his wolf costume at every home game and away game, and had his own fans on social media. But one game against the Texans in Houston, Chiefsaholic was nowhere to be found, and this had the Chiefs fans worried. But hours after the game, a Bixby, Texas news station reported that a man in a wolf costume was arrested for robbing people at gunpoint.
A Bixby bank robbery is getting a ton of attention because Kansas City Chiefs fans are convinced the suspect in the Tulsa County Jail is a popular Chiefs superfan.
The superfan who fans think robbed the bank is known as Chiefsaholic. He attends almost every game. But when he didn't make it to the Chiefs and Texas game last Sunday, fans were worried. So they took to social media to get to the bottom of it, and then realized they might have found his mugshot.
And fans recognized who that was immediately. See, after some further investigation into Javier Babidar, it turned out he was hiding even more, because he went through 7 states and completed 11 bank robberies for a total of $847,000. Yeah, that was enough for this dude to be put behind bars for 17 years. Dude was a monster under that mask. But at number 9, David Njoku.
Unreal. 900 grand. I didn't even think bank robberies happened anymore with the amount of security and technology. Unreal. 900K.
Who was hiding behind a mask too. See, it was the middle of the 2023 NFL season when a simple meditation session in front of the fire almost left David fried.
Setting up the bonfire, and I ran out of my normal lighter fluid that I used to soak the wood, so I used this other one. It was a spray instead of like one that you pour. I sprayed it down, waited a little bit, and I guess the lighter fluid were still in the air, so when I lit it up, it just exploded.
And this wasn't just a regular injury, because his second-degree burns throughout his body was the worst anyone could.
Dude, is that his thumb? Is it the angle? Look at the size of his thumb.
Could go through.
I diagnosed it as about a 17 to 18% total body surface area burn of second-degree partial thickness. Probably the most painful burn you could have. My recommendation was just to not play.
But it was just days before the Browns play their division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. So this game was personal. However, he still looked like he came.
Oh my God! Oh God, poor guy. Oh, that must be so painful.
Straight out of a fire. So he came to the game with his face hidden. Yeah, bro was still going through it. But once the ball kicked off, Njoku straight balled out with 6 catches through the most stinging pains of his life. And when the final buzzer sounded, Njoku wasn't hiding anymore. He let the world see his war wounds.
After the game, when I took my helmet off and I looked myself in the face and it was just tore up.
Said, I want people to see this.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the pain in those blisters when they burst?
I want people to understand, what I went through.
His story was so courageous that he became a voice for burn victims across the nation.
There was so many DMs and messages of burn victims that are scared to show their face, just went forth to, I guess to make them feel a little better about themselves. Things happen, mistakes happen, and you gotta just
look how much skin came off.
Put your best foot forward.
He battled through an injury never before seen, but there was no playing through one of the worst injuries ever. Look at number 8, Zach Miller made the most spectacular play of his life, all for it to end in the most twisted way imaginable.
And Miller is still down in the end zone.
Oh!
It was one of the most catastrophic sights ever seen on the field, and Miller was at risk for having his leg amputated.
As we got into the ambulance, they were taking my shoe off, cutting my socks off to check for a pulse, and could kind of tell just from the look of it There was no, oh, hey, we got this, that. It was, you don't have a pulse in your foot, and we have to fix that. Sid Dreyer is one of our assistant athletic trainers. He told the EMTs, like, there's no way you're taking us to that hospital. So he pulled out his phone and found the level 1 trauma center 5 minutes from us. And then I just...
Like, why would they need to amputate, though? Like, he broke his leg, but can't they just, like, you know, put him in a cast? Like...
I remember telling Doc, like, do not cut my leg off, please. They hit me with the mask and I cashed out for a little bit.
See, Miller popped a blood vessel that supplies blood to the lower leg, so he was rushed to the hospital immediately for emergency surgery. And it wasn't the last of his nightmare, because he had to go in for 9 total surgeries and still was never able to make it back to an NFL field again.
Oh no, he never made it back. His career ended. Oh man, that's brutal. Poor guy.
If I'm physically able to do it, I'd love to do it. Am I cool if I don't? Out of my hands.
NFL players always have to plan for their careers to end at any moment. But imagine being terrified of your own teammate. Because at number 7, we have one of the most insane players in NFL history. Now, Bill Romanowski was already known for being a loose cannon, but what he did at the Raiders training camp in 2003, it was straight up psychotic. See, with players trying to make the team, training camp fights are just another day. And at tight end, Marcus Williams was simply doing his job at practice. Now, when the play started, he went to block Romanowski. But as soon as he made contact, Bill grabbed him by the neck while Williams threw his hands in the air to indicate he was not trying to fight. However, Bill threw Williams' helmet off and punched Williams until he chipped his tooth and shattered his eye socket. Romanowski stood over Williams and said, "Don't you ever hold me."
The Raiders defense has gotten their ass kicked the past couple weeks. So what do you think happens in the meeting rooms? They start calling you out in practice. I had it happen to me at the Raiders and I got in a fight. Hey, I've gotten in a lot of fights, but I had never...
So this is Romanowski. Dude, he needs to get his head checked. Why did he do... He must have been on roids, for sure. He must have been on one crazy roid cycle.
Never hurt a teammate, and I hurt a teammate.
Now, Williams was rushed to the hospital, and after sitting there for 2 days, he thought his playing days might be over. But Williams wasn't just about to let it slide, so he lawyered up and took Romo to court, where Romanowski had to cop up $350K in damages, basically a year's salary at the time, and later paid another $75,000 to avoid more legal drama. But as wild as Romanowski's trial was, it's nothing compared to the...
Yeah, I mean, why do you do that? Like, it's your teammate at the end of the day. I get that you're trying to get onto the team, but come on, that's out of order, right?
Chaos surrounding Ray Lewis at number 6, because one of the hardest hitting players in NFL history didn't just terrify his opponents, he terrified the entire league by being charged with murder. Now, when Ray stepped into the league, he immediately became a superstar. So with a $25 million contract and the nation watching him, he wasn't just a regular guy anymore. And in 2000, during Super Bowl weekend in Atlanta, there was nothing but trouble outside, because after the big game, Ray and his crew decided to hit up the town and turn up. But this wasn't your average entourage. His boys included Joseph Sweeting, a strip club owner, and Reginald Oakley, another guy from back home. And these weren't exactly the type of dudes to keep things low-key. So after leaving a nightclub, things took a dark turn. While heading to their car, an argument broke out with 2 men, Richard Laurel and Joseph Baker. And what started as trash talk escalated into absolute chaos. And moments later, both men were lying in a pool of blood. See, Ray's friends had just purchased pocket knives from Ray's autograph signing at a sporting goods store earlier that day. And it wasn't long before Ray and his boys were arrested. Now, this immediately became one of the NFL's craziest controversies ever. I mean, while the Ravens were starting off their off-season practices, the future of their league was being charged with murder.
I mean, why would you let yourself get caught up in this kind of stuff? You're making millions of dollars, you're famous, you've got everything you dreamed about as a kid. Like leave all that stuff behind, all of the criminal stuff, you know?
Lewis pleaded guilty for obstruction of justice, but it was clear that the investigators wanted him gone for life. But Sweeting and Oakley were acquitted of murder by self-defense, and after spending 12 days in jail, Ray vowed to turn his life around. He walked away with his freedom, but not without the scars of a moment that would follow him forever.
Man, let me tell you something. I learned a lot through that. Put your trust in no man, and definitely put your trust in no system, because that ain't what's gonna pull you out at the end of the day. It's how you deal with it. And man, I've saw so much death that if anybody ever had a glimpse of what I've seen before that, they know I'm the last person that's about to create death or take life. I was built and born to give life. That's what my whole work ethic and everything is all about.
Yeah, Ray will have to live with that for the rest of his life, but at least he got to keep it. Because the player at number 5 wasn't so fortunate, because there was one team...
CTE at 26? Oh my God, I thought you got CTE like later in your career or after you've retired. That's crazy. So he was having like brain issues.
Dangers NFL players face, both on and off the field. But a number 4 and
yeah, that's super sad. I mean, 26 to have CTE and, you know, all the stuff that happened after. The kids, they've got no dad.
Entire stadium nearly watched a man die. See, one hit, and Ricardo Lockett was on the brink of never being able to move again. He was just out there trying to make a play until he got hit like a train wreck. Lockett was on the ground without any motion. Ricardo didn't even think he could get up, so he sent a prayer.
We're kind of fighting and we're running, and I'm like, okay, I got him. Typical. Bam, got him off of me, and I look to my left. It's like a car wreck. Like everything was in slow motion, and I'm laying on the ground. I can't feel anything. I could just move my eyes. So I'm just laying on the ground and I'm just praying. I said, Lord, please, if you give me another chance, I'll change my life and I'll change others as well.
And his faith came through, because on his way back to the locker room, his feeling came back. Now, once Lockett got to the hospital, it was clear that his playing days were done, because he suffered a devastating neck injury, all because of the danger of the game. And he had every reason to be upset at the world, but he knows the world is far bigger than football.
Did anybody from the Dallas organization reach out to see if you were all right?
I talked to Heath that night.
He did talk to you that night?
Yeah, he called me. He called the hospital room, and I told him, I said, don't worry about it, man. I said, you're a warrior. You're a dog just like I'm a dog. We play the game with the passion, and you continue to do that. You continue to feed your family. Don't worry about me.
So you didn't see this as a dirty hit?
No, it's football.
Wow, man, he's a good guy. Like, a lot of people would take it, they'd be so pissed, you know, even if it was a clean hit, they'd still be angry at the player that did it to him.
I know what I signed up for, and that's just what comes with it. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I don't blame anybody for what happened to me.
Now, Ricardo retired early, but he used his experience to become an expert in making the game safer by joining Harvard's health study. Wow. This dude changed his life to save the game we love, to try to stop moments like number 3. See, this one awkward tackle left the nation terrified, because Reggie Brown took a bone-crushing hit that left him breathless.
Here's the injury. His helmet jammed down into the shoulders.
Reggie dropped to the ground, lost control of his limbs, and wasn't breathing. I mean, the hit was so bad, Reggie was going to need a hero to save him. And it came from someone who had no idea what he was doing.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon, so we're not usually saving people's lives directly.
And it was only his second year as the team doctor, and he was in control of whether Reggie lived or died. Now, he didn't have any tools and used the only method he could think of, going mouth to mouth. This got Reggie stabilized, but he didn't start breathing on his own until he reached the hospital.
He did not return to breathing on his own until we were almost to the hospital.
His doctors had to perform emergency surgery to fuse his spine together, and Reggie was never able to play again. But he escaped death and was able to still live just like you and me.
Jeez, the career ending has got to be just the worst. Like, you've trained your whole life, but at least you're still alive, I suppose.
That was something Shawn Taylor wasn't able to reach at number 2, because the world was robbed of one of the greatest NFL talents ever, in a tragedy nobody could have predicted. See, in just 4 years, Shawn Taylor became one of the most versatile and hard-hitting safeties to ever grace the gridiron. I mean, he was every quarterback's worst nightmare and rose to become a fan favorite. But on November 26, 2007, Taylor was recovering from a knee injury at his home in Miami. And while most of his teammates were gearing up for their next game, Taylor was resting with his girlfriend and their 18-month-old daughter. That's when terror arrived at his door, because 4 teenage intruders broke into his house in the dead of night, and when Taylor confronted them, they fired a single fatal shot, hitting his femoral artery. The All-Pro safety was rushed to the hospital, but despite hours of surgery, he couldn't be saved.
Washington Redskins safety Shawn Taylor died this morning at a Miami hospital after being shot in his Florida home. The 24-year-old was airlifted to the hospital early Monday after someone broke through the couple's bedroom door and fired 2 shots. One bullet hit Taylor in the upper leg, damaging an artery and causing the massive blood loss that took his life.
And just like that, the NFL world was shattered. Taylor's death...
That's crazy. Did they not want money or anything? Was it like a hit? So did they ask for... Because if they asked for money, I'm sure he would have paid.
Rocked the league to its core, and his team honored him by playing their next game with just 10 men on defense, leaving his safety position empty for one symbolic play.
Washington has only 10 players on defense.
Reed Doughty is the guy who's expected to replace Shawn Taylor in the lineup. He's on the sideline.
Dude became one of the biggest what-ifs in NFL history and left those he loved with a piece of them missing forever. But now we've hit the most terrifying moment on our list, and there hasn't been a city who's dealt with loss like New Orleans. Now, when you think of the New Orleans Superdome, you picture roaring
Katrina?
crowds, Drew Brees lifting the Lombardi Trophy, or other iconic NFL moments. But in August 2005, the Superdome became the site of a living nightmare, because Hurricane Katrina had ripped through New Orleans, forcing thousands to the only place that could weather the storm. And what should have been a place of safety turned into absolute chaos. See, as the storm intensified, parts of the Superdome's roof peeled away, water poured in, and the power failed.
Oh man, that Monday morning, all of a sudden I just hear some kind of like loud sound, like boom. Yeah, rumbling. Then you hear some rumbling like brr. Then the rumbling just get like boom. You know, it was starting to batter and beat on top of the dome. But from that point, you know, you can see the water starting to slowly seep in. And then the hole got bigger. Then the water just started coming in and pouring in. And then it wasn't one hole. Then another hole opened up. Oh, that water starting to mash them over there now.
Over 20,000 evacuees were crammed inside with no air conditioning, limited food, and restrooms that exploded. I mean, the conditions were so bad that they were described as apocalyptic.
The restrooms exploded? Why?
A lot of different things happened, you know, inside the dome. It just got real crazy. You know, the smell was really, really horrific. You're talking like after the first day, the toilets was already backed up. And not having, you know, drinking water and all that other stuff was just kind of like real, real bad. I watched a lot of people suffer. I seen people like unattended, elders like just sitting in place for like days at a time, not moving.
And once the hurricane subsided, the Saints had a new symbol of purpose in representing their city. Now, the team had to play the entire 2005 season away from home, with the Superdome becoming unusable. But in 2006, the Saints returned to a repaired Superdome, kicking off their most passionate fan bases in all of sports, because their city went through a terrifying moment like none other.
Dude, crazy video, crazy video. So many, you know, things that stick in my mind. The guy, when the 4 home invaders just burst in and took him out, why did they do that? Like, did they not want money, or, you know, it's just such a senseless thing for them to do. And that first hit, no, the one with the leg, the dude's leg that hyperextended, that was nuts. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.